Welcome to LA Legends, where Aflac pros sharpen skills, swap stories, and build the Los Angeles South market one legend at a time. I'm Michael with market trainer Michelle Lee. Today, we have a special guest from the Aflac founding family, Tripp Amos, bringing the playbook level tactics and a little bit of rock and roll. Let's go.
Nice.
That was pretty
Pretty
good.
awesome. So just a quick background of Tripp. William Tripp Amos III.
Sounds way too foreign.
A little bit, but it's actually part of the Aflac's founding family. You started in the late 1980s?
94 full time,
Full time.
but first summer job was 86.
And
Nice.
spent 20 years at HQ before you stepped into the territory vice president role.
Yes, ma'am.
Spent 13 years as the market director for Georgia South.
Georgia South.
And then later became the chairman and investor for Piedmont Payment Services, Piedmont Pays, which a lot of us actually know as well and have used for some of our
Awesome.
accounts.
They're still alive.
So you've actually been part of the worksite voluntary benefits for the last 25 years and consulted on carrier distribution. And as Michael said, the rock and roll, fun fact, huge Kiss fan.
In fact, it was the Georgia South Rock Stars, like all of the legends. That was our
Yeah.
name
Oh,
on stage.
Okay.
Nice. And it was a duck with Paul Stanley's, star on
Awesome.
Kiss, right? It was a Kiss face on a duck. Totally
Love
compliance approved.
Just like a jag.
Yeah.
You're really into sports cars, and I'm so glad I asked you this question earlier because we were talking about James Bond.
Mhm.
James Bond fan.
Love.
And then just a little bit about Aflac, just full circle. The company's been founded since 1955. My brothers John, Paul, and Bill, which is what do you call it? What do you call it?
Granddad? Papa.
Granddad, Papa. You said
Yeah,
Papa.
Papa.
Me, mom, pop.
Me, Mom, Papa. That's about as Southern as it gets.
I was like, I'm not sure if it was King Came Papa.
Tripp, through our conversations, you've helped me learn a couple things over the last few days. We're entering Power Weeks. We're actually in Power Weeks when we're recording this, but this is timeless stuff. Want to start off, people right now, we have new associates that are getting in the business. They're grinding, they're hitting their awards, but you were talking to me a little bit about the difference between an associate asking for, favors. I'll let you define that a little bit versus actually truly asking for business. So can you give us a little insight?
Yeah,
on
so let's go with that one. We talked a little bit this morning about it. And so what usually happens when a new person comes in, they also come in with a new circle of friends, centers of influence that we may not have had access to in the past. So traditionally, our new associates, they want to go with the path of least resistance while they build their confidence and their skills and their scripting. And so where you find that confidence is in your circle, right? And so usually the first 2 or 3 groups of a new associate might be their brother-in-law's group. It might be where their dad works. It might be, a small business of, somebody they went to college with. But mostly that first 2 or 3 groups is somebody they had a prior relationship with. And so what we would call that is asking for favors. And that isn't, hey, I want you to do Aflac because we have great products and we're a great brand and we're a great company. I want you to do Aflac as a favor to me to help me get started. And what I want for all Aflac agents is I want them to be able to build a business for long term.
Yeah.
And what is that brick wall's coming, but you can't just ask for favors. At some point, you have to move what we call asking for favors to asking for business. The difference is, did I know those people before I walked in the door?
Right.
If you're asking for favors, right, from Uncle John, that's only going to carry you so far. You might get a fireball out of it, but sooner or later, you're going to hit that wall. So I think one of our responsibilities as management in the Aflac field is to help the people understand this is what's coming, and how do we get them to start being comfortable as they build their skill set, as they build their confidence level, to be able to ask for business. And so what we always just told them was, once you get those 2 or 3 accounts and you're starting to build a little bit, go to those people. Hopefully you've done a great job. Your DSC's in there with you. And you ask for a referral. And so Uncle John gives you a referral. Well, that referral is kind of half favor, half business. But that starts you on your journey towards a long-term career with Aflac. And as you get more comfortable with that person who, hey, Bill, I don't know you, but Uncle John does. But as you get in there, as you do your thing, as you provide the services and the brand and everything that you need to, then maybe Bill provides you a referral. that referral is really 3/4 business,
Yep.
a quarter favor, and you get to the point. And so you move away from favors as your skill set develops, and you develop a long-term strategy to build your own business with our company.
I love it. One of the things that I took away from that too was because I do this, Michelle does it. We see that associate that asked for 3 favors, and we're like, that's our next DSC.
You're amazing. Yeah, where's that DSC?
Give them a regional contract. Yeah, I've maybe been guilty of that.
And what happens is we give them a DSC contract, and then they fail.
Yeah.
And you knowing that it is also the occurrence.
Yeah.
You've got to make sure they can ask for business.
Yep, we need to make sure that we're preparing them for that wall.
That's
and
right.
Yeah. I want to actually go off of that same one really quickly. So when we're talking about coaching, and this is for my DSCs, this is for my regions, this is also for me. Harassment versus accountability. I'm just going to throw that at you.
So one of my, and I'm going to say it the way I say it. So we're going to have an expletive in there. So everybody be prepared. If you're listening to this in your car with your 4-year-old, turn it down.
And we don't know how to edit yet.
So we won't use the expletive. But here's what I tell people is harassment is me bugging the shit out of you for something I want. Accountability is me bugging the shit out of you for something you want. That is the difference between harassment and accountability. Most people don't mind accountability. They detest harassment. And so we have to find ways in Aflac to move those conversations from a harassment conversation to an accountability. And so you want to talk about the bonus goal worksheet? So here's how we start the process of moving that conversation is at the beginning of every quarter, we create what we call a bonus goal worksheet. You call it whatever you want. And it would say, I, Tripp Amos, in fourth quarter 2025, want and desire and want to strive for the following bonuses. And it would say ABC bonus, blank. EIP bonus, blank. NASB bonus, blank. State convention credit this quarter, blank. And they would fill that out and they'd actually sign it at the bottom. So they would put ABC, $1,000, BIP, if that's what's applicable to them, right? $4,000, NASB, $2,500, whatever it is. And so now I have in their handwriting, these are the bonuses that I want. Now with that piece of paper, that's what transfers the future conversations from harassment to accountability. So now if I ask you about, what it takes to make VIP, it's accountability because all I'm doing is holding you accountable to the actions and to the routines that need to happen and the results that need to happen for you to get that $4,800 you told me you wanted on your VIP goal. So, and when we do that, I will tell you this, this goes really to the coordinators right now, is I had a rule in my state that you could only ask questions of associates that were couched in a bonus format. So let me explain that. So they fill out that form and they want $4,800 this month or this quarter in VIP. You're not allowed to ask, hey, have you opened any groups recently? Or even worse, why haven't you opened any groups recently? That's terrible verbiage to use in a coaching conversation. Instead, you have to ask, tell me about your progress towards your VIP goal of 4,800 last week. What I'm really asking is, tell me how much you wrote and did you open any new groups or have any DM presentations that lead to new groups? Because you got to have 2 new groups.
Yeah.
You got to have your AP in your groups for VIP. But it hits the ear and starts the conversation so much better to say, hey, tell me about the progress you made towards your VIP goal of 4,800 last week. That opens up the conversation. ABC, hey, why aren't you nominating you jackleg? Right? That's not what we say. What we say is, hey, tell me the progress you've made over the last 2 or 3 weeks towards your ABC bonus. What you're really asking is, hey, have you nominated anybody? But you always couch it in a bonus structure. And then I will even say this. So that makes it accountability. They may misconstrue that sometimes. And I've had a couple of occasions where I'll say, hey, tell me a little bit about, your nomination process, what's going on. We talk about it 2 weeks later. I ask you again 2 weeks later, you don't have any nominations. And you tell me, Tripp, please stop asking me if I've nominated anybody recently. And my answer back is, then you have the balls to put 0 next to the ABC bonus on the next quarter's goal worksheet.
Can you repeat that?
Yeah.
Put 0 by the ABC bonus. I want 0 of that bonus. And I ask you how your nominations are coming. That's harassment.
Mhm.
I'm asking for something I want that you told me you didn't want. And so that part, but what it does is it opens up such expansive conversations with your associates because you're starting off with a sense of care and concern. You tell me you want this amount of money from this bonus program. I am here to help you get it. How I help you get it through the Socratic method is I simply ask you questions. That is
Yeah.
what I do. And what's great is as human beings, when we see a blank, it's just like when there is a pause in the conversation, everybody gets nervous and wants to fill it. No one sees that ABC blank, they just can't put zero. They see that VIP, they just can't put zero. I want them putting numbers down there.
Yeah.
So I can hold them accountable because in the end, who doesn't want more money? Take advantage of the entire Aflac opportunity that is available to you. So I used to tell people, I'm gonna kind of dovetail a little bit.
Yeah.
So we talk about in Aflac, the compensation program is a three-pronged compensation program. We have commissions, we have renewals, we have stock. That's what we talk about.
Yep.
What we may not be forthcoming on sometimes is two of the three don't start until your second year. So if your commission income isn't closing your income gap for you, while you're waiting for renewals and stock to kick in, the ABC bonus program starts tomorrow. If you have an income gap, I understand that we have an amazing compensation program, but two of the three start in month 13. But if you're not making enough in commissions, I have another bonus program that doesn't wait until the second year.
Yeah.
Right. And if advancement is one of your things, right, as you know, that's one of the motivators out there, right, is advancement is one of the levers of motivation. That the rule was, listen, if you ABC anybody, when your time comes, if you want to step up to CIT or DSC, it is not up for debate. Those people go with you and they leave the district they're in because I wouldn't have had them without you.
Yep.
And they can start building their team prior to having the quota to build the team that's there. And I'll even say this. Some of you may not like this one, but in my state, maybe we're not going to edit these things. Here we go.
Yeah.
This is what I would tell people. I would not promote someone to DSC until they had two ABCs that contracted, one of which at least hit fast start. And I'm going to tell you why. Because the DSC is in the game. We're going to go with the football analogy. Okay. They're in the game. The DSCs are expected to nominate and recruit and build a team. We agree? Okay. I give you an opportunity to scrimmage DSC responsibilities before you're a DSC, right? Through the ABC bonus program. Why would I put you in the game if you refuse to scrimmage? Right?
Yeah.
If you're not willing to practice, then I'm not going to put you in the game. And what it also does, which was wonderful for me, is I only put people in that I knew would nominate and build a team and find good, successful people. And so my DSC turnover was nothing. Because instead of finding out they don't want to recruit after I made them a DSC, I find it out before you're a DSC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to recap, but just a couple of
Yeah,
those.
sorry.
On one of them, when you're asking these coaching questions, I noticed you had their sheet in front of you, right? Like, so you had their number, their specific
So
number.
that process. So yes, I would call
Yeah.
every one of them and say, Michelle, I got your sheet. Thank you so much for turning it in, timely fashion. It looks like here you're wanting $7,000 this quarter, this much from ABC, this much from VIP. Looks like you want the state convention credit. Listen, everybody between me and you, their job is to make this piece of paper happen. And so what's actually going to happen is at week 7, I'm going to call you back and you and I are going to have a little halftime locker room conversation about this piece. But right now, I want you to go and make this thing happen. And then I left it by my DSCs and RCs, right, for the day by day to continue to ask the accountability questions based on that sheet.
Yeah. So that's a huge part too, because you were setting up that expectation that you are going to be checking in, and you do that. That's you still do. You still do. The other one that I just wanted to recap for like the number nerds and stuff out there is the 2 ABCs contracted, 1 fast start. That's showing that they are in the game.
That allows you to be a DSC interviewee.
Yep.
In my organization. And what it is, and I say this out of love, if you're an associate, I want you to have a long career with Aflac, and maybe being a DSC is not for you. We have amazing veterans agents that stay agents their entire career, and God bless them, we couldn't do without them.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to ruin your career by putting you in a position and then you don't want to do the requirements. So then I step you out of that position and we have a threat of discontent, right? I don't want that. I want you to be in the position that you love most. But if you want to try the DSC, just scrimmage for me.
Yeah.
If you say, I'm really good at scrimmaging, put me in the game, coach, put you in the game.
Yeah. I love that.
I know where we're going.
What do you got? I mean, I could keep going. I could keep going. Yeah. I have one really big one for you, which is this is for more geared towards new people starting out. You talk about high school versus college.
Explain it?
Yeah, explain it.
Okay. So I would always ask people with Aflac that came in, especially that came in from a W-2 background, who has the higher dropout rate, high school or college? And the answer is college by a mile all day long. All day long. You know, it's like 40%, right? And half the people that start college don't finish college. Whereas that's not the case with high school. And so then the question becomes, why is that the case? It's not because they're stupid. They got into college. They're surviving. So the reason most people drop out of college is because they can't handle discipline. They can't handle freedom. And we all know somebody that we went to school with when we were younger. They went to college and they were home by Christmas break and went to community college because they couldn't survive outside with the, with the freedom. And so what I tell people is the same applies for Aflac and other careers. If you think about it, high school is a W-2 job. So it's a W-2 job. You have to be here at this time or the bell rings. You can't leave until the final bell rings. Heck, in an old time, right? Factories actually had bells. Yeah, right. They were modeled after schools, right? The bell whistles at 5 o'clock. So I got to be there at 8:30. I can't leave until 5, even though all my work's done. I have to stay there until 5. You got parents, you got teachers, you got administrators and principals that are making sure at school, at home, that you get through the system and get your work done, right? Yeah, someone's always over your shoulder looking. That's a W-2 job, right? It's bosses and supervisors and co-workers and everything like that. But if you're working most places in a W-2, you're told you need to be here at this time. You got to leave at this time. So know that high school is a W-2 job, and it also means high school doesn't have a lot of freedom. Right. You're not allowed to leave during the day and go do something and then come back to class later that day. But then when you come into Aflac or a 1099 role, college is a 1099 position, right? You don't have the dean of the school is not calling you or saying, hey, are you getting your work done? Mom and dad aren't there every night when you go home saying, did you get your work done? How's it going, son? Everything like that, right? I always say chicks and beer abound, right? There are temptations out there not to do work. Right. And listen, in the Aflac world, it's not chicks and beer, it's golf and the beach, right? Or whatever it is, or it's your kids' play or whatever it is. There's always an excuse. I need to run by the dry cleaners, right? There's always an excuse not to work, just like there's an excuse not to go to class. And so, talking about that brick wall in the other scenario, this is another one where people that come into our business need to see and understand, okay, I'm going to college. Right? I now have a 1099 job, not a W-2 job, which means I have freedom and flexibility. But if I can't handle freedom and discipline, I will lose that freedom and flexibility. And in the Aflac world, what that means is you will flunk out of this and you will go seek the safety of the W-2 job. But in the process, you sacrifice freedom. A lot of freedom. A lot of freedom.
I think it's worthwhile to shift the conversation a little bit.
Yeah.
I get the freedom bit. But we're talking about new associates and thinking with a different type of mentality, the discipline side of things. New associates, you met quite a few of them today.
I did.
And that's, I've seen quite a few of them in sales school. But what are your 3 non-negotiables when it comes to the first 30 days for a new associate?
Okay, sales school. Now, one of the things we talked about last night is my sales school, you had to do achievements to continue in the sales school process.
Okay.
We had 3 levels of sales school, right? The first level was prospecting, right? That's what I got to teach you first. Nothing else matters. How much you know about our products, how much you know about the industry, how good you are as a enroller matters not if you can't get an appointment, right? So that's the.
You're literally gonna underscore that. That's gonna be the lead in. That's that Tripp actually said. The
first thing is,
it doesn't matter about the product.
You got to show me the first non-negotiable is you have to come to sales school because you have to come because I've got to show you how to do this, right? I've got to show you how to prospect specifically Aflac.
Mhm.
Specifically Aflac, right? And they're and you know, that's why we have market trainers and they're so great throughout the country in what they do. So that would be my first. Number two, you have to meet the expectations that we as management put forth. And that is the activity part of prospecting, right? First one is sales school, which is to learn what to do. Second is to actually go and do it. Third is to do it successfully. And so one of the things we were talking about last night, Michelle, is for my sales school graduation, you didn't go just because
Right.
you went to sales school and then you went to this and now sales school graduation is upon us. You had to write $10,000 and open 2 new accounts. Now you might go to prospecting and 3 months later go to sales school graduation.
Mm.
You didn't have a class and you went all the way through, because I don't want people that have opened 5 groups and have written $50,000 learning at the same rate that somebody's literally yet to open a group, yet to write a dime of business. That hurts that high achiever. The only people I want in that room are the people, and the way I say it is, I'm not going to teach you more until you have successfully applied what I've already taught you.
Mm.
Why would I teach you? Why would I add more to you when you haven't mastered what I've already given you?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so my non-negotiables are: you go to sales school. Why? To learn prospecting. The second one is you meet the expectation of canvassing, how many businesses to call on a day, match that. And then the third one is show me you've done it successfully, and I will keep adding knowledge to your brain. And that is how we get you there long term.
Yeah. You are, that's the second time that you've actually gone back to like, hey, even with the SC promotion or SC interviews, you got to show me the work though.
Yep.
Yeah.
You got to show me the work.
Yeah.
And then you're in the conversation. That's
Yes.
huge.
Yes. You know,
Yeah.
a lot of people think, unfortunately, even in this day and age, that anything that's commission only is somehow a get rich quick scheme. This is not.
This is not.
A get rich quick scheme. This is a get rich flow scheme.
Yeah.
That's right. That is what we are. We are a get rich flow scheme. All right. What you got?
So let's go back to the activity. When
Okay.
you first started, what was that? What was that expectation of, like, typical week of? We've been saying 305 in our market, but what is that
Georgia South, like
What? Say it again.
activity metric?
Right. But what is yours?
300 approaches
Okay.
or 5 appointments scheduled a week is what we've been
Okay.
saying for our market.
We would say 40 a day. Right. That was ours. And you had to come with 100 to initial prospecting class.
Mhm.
Right. You had to cut. There was homework to do prior to coming to a classroom instruction. And really, you know why I wanted them to do the 100? It wasn't necessarily that. It was, I wanted them to show me they do something.
Yeah.
If I'm going to invest in you, show me you're going to invest in you.
Mhm.
That's all.
Yeah.
Right.
I-
Don't make me invest in you if you're not going to invest in you. That's crazy. And so the 100 bringing the class was just so. And if you didn't have your 100,
Yeah.
you didn't walk through the door.
Didn't get through the door.
You didn't walk through the door. Because again, I need people in the room that are at the same skill set or same energy set.
Mhm.
Right? It's energy set in the beginning, it's skill set later on.
One of my favorite things talking to you. So being a market director SSC for 13 years, that's if you don't quota you, sorry, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's
Performance based.
not personal.
Yeah. And it happens fast. I've seen it happen very quickly. So your sales culture, obviously, you told me your RSC bench didn't turn over very often, or at all after a while. Once you landed in
After I put my people that believed in me.
yeah. So can you talk through how you built up and built through your sales culture? It's not an 80s movie montage, I'm assuming.
Well, yeah. So how I built.
And how did you sustain it? That's two big ones.
Okay, so I believe you build things upon one of two things. You either build it on systems or cult of personality. And I built mine on cult of personality. We were not great on systems, but I had direct relationships with my people. They knew I cared. They were never blindsided. Didn't lie to them, right? And so we built an amazing culture with consistency. That's when you think of what is culture is consistency. That's all it really is, right? You have your family culture, you have some tradition at Christmas that your family has always done, right? And it's part of your family culture. Why? Because it's been consistent. And so build culture that is what you have to have is consistency. So you set expectations.
Mhm.
You don't deviate from them. You and I talked about, some of the high producers in AFAME and how all that worked and everything like that. You treat everybody the same regardless. And it got to the point, and this was, God bless, the joy of when I got to this point. That took 13 years to get to this point. I didn't have to step people down. They would come to me and say, I realize I'm not living up to the expectations that you and I agreed to in Georgia South. Take me out. That they would come to me if the culture's right. Listen, even up to and including me. If I was on notice or something like that, I would have never made Dan Amos take me out. No, I would have come to him before I put him in that position. And that's really where we got to. But you get to that by, it is genuinely caring. It is something that's going to sound so corny, right? But yeah, we said, I love you a lot in Georgia South. Right? And we meant it. Right? We really meant it. And we, our trips, I will tell you intentionally, every one of my state conventions was a cruise because they had to be together. Right? On a cruise, you can't get away from it. I've had a whole psychology of why it was cruises. I will share you 7 pages worth of why we did. Can we get a commercial on that? Yeah. But I will share with you those. But one of them was for 7 days, you dine together. You break bread, breakfast, lunch, and dinner together. You go on excursions together. And there was something for everybody, right? Some people are the gamblers and the drinkers, and they're down in the, in the casino. You have your sun worshipers, and they're up. But when you take everybody to just a locale, right? Then everybody kind of goes off and does their own thing. And what I used my state convention for was to really build culture in a really compressed environment for 7 days. Wow. And the people and y'all are a little bit different in geography. I had regions that live 4 hours apart from each other. Yeah. Right. And so it's 4 hours, but it's 5 miles with traffic. Yeah. But Columbus to Savannah is about 4.5 hours. So I wanted my Savannah associates to know my Columbus associates, and this is where they did it. Yeah. Right. Was there. And it's on convention. It's all my high performers. But yeah, it was beautiful. But it is consistency and transparency, and which you have, Michael, in spades, which I love, is authenticity. Right. They can smell inauthentic people quick. Yeah. Right. Yeah. I hope so. Right. In sales. Yeah. I hope. Yeah. Thank you for that.
Do you want to stick
Michelle? College football? Sure.
all day?
That's right. Good jacket. What you got?
So let's move into the broker space. Does that work?
Yeah.
So we have the CBR program that we're trying to get associates through. Our territory team is taking the lead in that from Lovely South, include putting it into all 11 markets as well. So think about our DSCs. I know this says RCs, but
go for it.
A DSC, a CBR, how do they become the favorite person or favorite partner in the next 60 days?
Favorite partner of a broker?
Yeah.
Okay. So I would tell you this. I would tell you the first, again, we're just going with what Tripp does, right? So just, that's what it is. Okay. So I train mine on step 1, you never denigrate another carrier. Yeah. Okay. That's, first of all, how you stand out. Okay. You never, and you only talk fact. So what I was truly looking up is I used to have a thing, so we called it Schedule T close. Okay. And so you probably don't even know what a Schedule T is. So every insurance company has to file what's called the annual statements with every state insurance department. So California State Insurance is called the Blue Book. And so everybody has to file. But so it doesn't matter if it's a company, public company, whatever. You have to file with the state insurance department. In it, there's Schedule A, it's like a tax return kind of thing. There's Schedule T. Schedule T lists premium in force by state. So what brokers don't care about, let's go with California. They don't care how well Aflac's doing in Iowa, right? That's nothing to them. Hey, Aflac has more premium in force in America than, Colonial, whoever. Well, that's not their world. And so we formulated what we call the Schedule T close. And this is how we did it, is I would say, because I know these numbers for Iowa because that was always the example I used. So here it is. Hey, Mr. Broker, I don't know what you've heard from all the other broker reps My assumption you've heard, from other carriers that they have better products, better technology, better underwriting, higher commissions, whatever you've heard. And here's what I'm here to tell you is I don't know what they're telling you, but what I can tell you is whatever they're telling you doesn't translate into sales. That's what I can tell you is I can tell you in Iowa, Aflac has $63 million in force in Iowa. Colonial has 7 million in force. So if they had the better products, the better technology, the better commissions, whatever they're telling you they're better at, wouldn't they be at 63 million and I'd be at 7 million? And whatever they're telling you, again, doesn't translate into sales. And Mr. Broker, sales is how you get paid. And I would localize it to the state. And they would have a copy of the Schedule T with them. Say, look, here it is. It's, a Voya life insurance company. This is how much they have in force in your state. Here's how much Aflac has in force in your state. So obviously, for whatever reason, what we're offering in the market seems more acceptable. And that would turn a broker because it was localized to the state they're in. It wasn't egregious in terms of bad mouthing anybody. I'm not saying they don't have better technology. I'm saying whatever that technology might be cooler, but it doesn't translate into sales. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
If it was, why am I in California? Why is Aflac at, I'm going to look it up here in a second. Why is Aflac at 150 million and Unum's at 12?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right. And if we're accepted 10 to 1 in this state, isn't that the brand you want to align with?
Yeah. That fast forwards everything to what they want.
What
Yeah,
they
like,
want.
yeah.
They have their technology. Well, they tell me their products are better. Cool. I was just going to translate it to sales.
Cool.
Right. Good for them. It does translate it. If it translates into sales, then why do I have more in force?
Yeah.
That's all.
Cool story, bro. That's
But I can go through a lot of broker stuff, but that's the crux of it.
Yeah.
That's what I would teach is we go in and we talk to brokers. We develop those relationships. We wouldn't say they suck.
Mhm.
They lied. They're not right. We would just say, whatever they tell you, let's believe.
Mhm.
But you have to believe factually that it doesn't translate into sales. That's what I'm saying.
Man, that's
That line. That one sentence right there does not translate into sales.
it does.
Where was
That's
because I think when I asked that question as part of it, because we have people studying, CBRs, meeting with brokers. They get them contracted.
Yeah.
But they can't get them to translate it into sales.
So I'm going to read you the script, okay, that I have.
All right.
This is the Schedule T broker close. Mr. Broker, you keep telling me about how our competition is offering higher commissions, better value adds, improved underwriting, et cetera. That sounds great on the surface. But bottom line is whatever they're offering in the marketplace in your state doesn't translate into sales. And isn't sales how you get paid? Both companies have been in business for over 50 years. And during that time, Aflac has built over 66 million of BB in force in Iowa, while Colonial has less than 8 million. If their offerings were right for your market long term, wouldn't those numbers be reversed? There you go. There's your Schedule T close. Okay.
Schedule T close.
And I'll get you a Schedule T.
Yeah.
So you can know what it is in California.
Done.
But that's landing the plane. It's making the broker realize, wait a second, what am I doing? Why am I not working in a company that has more in force? Yes, there are some pieces that probably we could do better at, but ultimately,
if you want a
it's
higher
on
commission on $8 million or a little bit of commission on 66 million, you tell me.
Yeah.
That's all.
Fine.
yeah.
No, it's
Right.
that is literally shifting the conversation
Sorry.
completely. You always talk about
All these
it.
rabbit holes I'll go down.
No, we're looking
That's
for
what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
That could be
Good.
the game changer.
Good.
Yeah, you always tell us that we're the huge throw in this space, so that's a huge way to look at it. I think we're gonna start winding it down, but with a couple lightning round questions.
Okay. Do it.
One of them is a absolute stupid one, but before we get to that, a failure that later paid huge dividends. Can you give us one in your life? We didn't prepare you for any of these.
You did not.
Yeah.
So a failure. So yeah. I was a DVP. I ran 10 states. I was 33 years old when I became a DVP. I did a lot of stupid stuff, so when I became a DVP, I inherited the legends. I inherited Mike Butler, Jimmy Hill, Les Kemper. Those were my marketing directors, and they could run circles around me. Let's be honest, right?
Yeah.
And and I didn't do the greatest job of being a DVP. And it was kind of a blessing that my home state, Georgia South, came open. And I was able to take that. But I can tell you this, I, when I say I failed at the DVP, I was on notice when I left and went to Georgia South, but it made me set me up for the greatest position I ever had in Aflac, which was running Georgia South for 13 years.
Yeah.
And I did a little ass backwards, but by not being the DVP I probably should have been and was probably too young to do it, it really set me up for the dream job that I got for 13 years.
Yeah. You changed a lot of lives, and that was the first time that you and I got to meet. Was
Yes.
Seeing you were the only market director. This was a all market trainer meeting, and it wasn't necessarily in your backyard. It wasn't convenient for you to get there. But you drove all the way up, and you sat through every session because you were like, if my trainers are going to learn this, it's about my team's performance coaching and me developing my leaders, I'm going to do it with them.
Yes, sir.
And that was that blew me away because I only knew the last name at that point, and that's when I was like,
This is the slowest rapid fire I've ever done.
yes. Okay. This one's a stupid one. Ready?
Okay. Go.
Okay. So,
And people, I have no idea what you're getting.
okay, what's a $100 to $300 purchase that's most improved your life this year? $100 to $300 this year or last year? I'll give you
$100 to what?
$100.
$100 to $300 purchase. What I'm going to tempt to is a dinner with a broker.
Deep. Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
that $100 that I spent for that dinner has yielded amazing results.
Wow. Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
A little bit unconventional, right?
Yeah.
But you said what purchase? That's a purchase.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. If you had a billboard, you spent a lot of time on the freeways the last few days.
Yep.
Over the 405. So you're just sitting there, and a new associate, they are looking at that billboard.
Okay.
What would it say? So it's an LA associate, and it's Tripp's whatever is on that 405
What's my
billboard.
saying?
What's your saying? What's on your billboard?
What you're not changing, you're choosing.
Ooh.
That's what it would say.
What you're not changing, you're choosing.
Right. It doesn't matter if it's your romantic life, your financial life, your spiritual life. If you're not changing it, then you're choosing it. And it goes so much into, Aflac. Listen, if you're not happy with how much money you're making in Aflac, change it, or you're choosing to make that amount.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Whatever it is, if you're unhappy with any situation in your life, if you're not changing it, you're choosing it. And that's hard for people to swallow.
Yeah, that just hit me. Wow.
Wow.
That's a good one.
Not to be personal, kids, right? If your kids are a mess, if you don't change them, you're choosing to have those kids.
Yeah.
Right?
That is
All right. Granddad Fun Pop's coming out. Okay. That's my granddad name. So Fun Pop. Yeah.
All right. So last one. One
Yeah.
challenge for our listeners.
What somebody did next 7 days.
Next 7 days challenge.
Next 7 days challenge, but we are in the middle of hell.
Yep.
Right? And so I would tell y'all to treat this is your Super Bowl, right? You prepare more, you work harder, you expect different results. I talked to the people this morning, of course, about the 2-minute drill, but in the next 7 days, you are under the 2-minute warning in a football game scenario. Act like it.
Yeah.
Just for the listeners, right? 13% of field goals in a game are kicked after the 2-point conversion because the game changes. Urgency is there, right? All the things that, we take more risks, we take less breaks, we have more action. Everything I got in the final 2 minutes of a football game, and this is our final 2 minutes. Act like it is the final 2 minutes. Do not act like it's August. It's September, even though it's August, whatever today is,
Mhm.
right? Yeah. Act like it's September because this is where it happens.
This is where it happens. Tripp, what's crazy, for people on our team, they actually do hear from you. They hear from you on Mondays. I asked this, you make those phone calls. It takes you hours every single Monday. And I've been blessed and lucky enough to be on the receiving end of a couple of those. So thank you for walking the walk because you do the work. This is hard work that you do. And it's thankless work at times, but I appreciate you just taking on the culture. And
Yes,
I will say this, when you came back, I'll say this publicly to this team, is that it was a sigh of relief that our culture was here and that somebody at the very top was, taking care of the field. We always know that you have our ear and our best interests at heart, and you've actually shown that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you. Michelle, anything else that you want to close this out with?
What you got?
We are good to go.
All righty.
All right.
Thank you so
Well,
much,
we
Tripp.
appreciate you.
Thank you, LA.